have any idea of economics. Okay, let us say this very particular subject in general.
Basically, product supply as an
Very good. Yes. Anyone else? Swati said. Okay, so when we talk about supplying certain commodities to the market demand of the consumer, are demanding for mangoes. Mangoes is such that it will fulfill. Okay, that's what your supply is. Understand supply. Where there was an inverse relationship between price and demand. Can you tell me between this price and inverse? Why is what?
क्योंकि कप
कम प्राइस होगा तो ज्यादा सप्लाई होगा.
directly proportional.
Sankalp, they are in the class or sleeping? Consideration as price being an independent factor. Okay, and on that your supply is depending. Yes, Arman, do you have anything to say?
Ma'am, like higher in price leads to higher supply and lower price leads to low supply.
Yes, yes, but why? Let us say I'm a producer, and I am producing mangoes and I am supplying them to the market. All of a sudden I observe that in the market the price of mangoes have increased. So what will be my supply, whether it will increase or decrease?
I'm increase.
It will increase. And what can be the best possible reason behind it?
If the price is high, the supply will be higher so that the producer can earn higher profit.
The quantity supplied will also increase, just because he will he will get greater profits out of it.
Yes.
Is it understood? Okay. What does this law of supply states? The law of supply states that keeping all other factors as constant, with the increase in the price of a commodity, the quantity supplied increases. Okay. See here, what do you then it has increased to P2 and finally it got to P1. So as an increase in the price, here we will observe that the quantity demanded also increases from Q3 to Q2 to Q1. Okay, so here we will observe a upward sloping curve. Okay, which shows that there is direct relationship between price and your quantity supplied. Okay, just mark it. We have a upward sloping curve. Is it understood now? What is this law of supply?
So Bhishma, can you repeat that?
I said the factors as constant, your price and quantity supplied are directly related. That is, if the price is increasing, so will be your quantity supplied. So as you move up from P to P2 to P1, we will observe that the quantity supplied is also increasing Q3 to Q2 to Q1, resulting which we have an line. Is it clear?
goods पे डिपेंड करेगा ना मैम सप्लाई लाइक एट अ स्मॉलर प्रॉफिट इफ वी सेल मोर क्वांटिटी तो सप्लाई बढ़ जाएगा उस हिसाब से लाइक इफ समथिंग इज कॉस्टली एंड अगर उसका प्राइस गिरता है तो उसका सप्लाई बढ़ जाएगा लाइक
See,
पीपल आर विलिंग टू बाय
as I have always told you right from the beginning, a similar concept cannot be generalized for all the possible situation. वैसा नहीं हो सकता है. If I will change, if I will tell that it is varying from good to good, what if it is a necessary good or what if it is a snub good? Okay, it will vary. So whenever I am talking about this very particular concepts, I am generalizing it. Okay, that means for any random thing, okay, what is the relativity, we will be talking about that. Okay, we are not simply focusing on any specific ones. Is it understood?
यस
Okay, so let's get started with factors affecting supply and demand. Is one, just because this very price with supply. Okay, so here we can see the price of given commodity means the particular price of that commodity. What if the price of that commodity increases, what will happen to the supply? It's pretty much obvious that it will also increase, keeping in mind the profit motive. Okay, if the price will increase, the supply will also increase with it. The next one is price of other goods. What is this price of other goods? I'm trying to explain you with the help of an example. Okay, try to understand. So there are let us say there are two. There is a farmer who is producing two types of goods. Let us say wheat and rice. The farmer has 1 acre of land and it is utilizing this 50% of his land for producing wheat and other 50% for rice. Now tell me one thing, if all of a sudden the price of wheat has increased in the market, what will happen to the supply of rice?
Decrease,
Why, Kunal?
as there are more demand of wheat, that's why the price of wheat is increasing.
Yeah, so here we will observe that as the wheat is mostly demanded in the market, so now the farmer will utilize his major proportion of land in producing or cultivating wheat. Okay, resulting which what will happen? Resulting which now the area where rice is cultivated, it will reduce. Okay, so now major portion of land will be utilized for producing wheat. As a result, the supply of rice will reduce. Clear? clear to everyone, or is it anyone in the class who is still confused about this? Yes or no, so that we'll proceed now.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am. Clear.
Clear.
Understood, right? Okay. Look, guys, even if you're confused, even if there is a silly doubt, still you ask me, because you never know that silly thing may be carrying a much weightage in the other half of the slides. Okay. So coming down, rolling down to the next one, that's price of factors of production, state of technology, and government policy. Starting with the first one, that is price of factors of production. So what do you understand by factors of production? Can anyone tell me? The factors of production means
Factors affecting production, or you can say.
is it affecting or used in production?
Ma'am, used in production.
Just
Basically, inputs that are put into production.
very good,
I mean,
very good,
manufacturing.
very good. Whenever we are dealing with this price and quantity supplied, we will see that when I'm talking about these factors of production, that means what are the inputs that has been utilized in the production process in order to incur an output out of it. For example, if I'm talking about a table, in a table there are like considering for the production of a table, let us say we require raw materials, for example wood, or we require like laborers who are indulged in producing it, and ultimately let us say we require the capital or machinery to produce it. Okay, so by utilizing three of them, okay, what is it finally producing is your output, but all these things that are involved in the production procedure is input. So, how these inputs are utilized in the production procedure to incur an output is known as your factors of production. Is it understood? Clear to everyone? What is this factors of production?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, with the increase in prices of factor of production, what will happen to your quantity supplied?
Decrease.
Please, yeah, decrease, Swati.
Ma'am, decrease. क्योंकि प्रोड्यूसर
Decrease.
को दिक-
Okay.
हम क्योंकि प्रोड्यूसर को ज्यादा पैसे लग रहे हैं प्रोडक्शन करने में.
Very good, very good. So, for example, if you had 1 lakh rupees in your hand and the price of each table was 25,000, okay, so what will happen now? So, if your price of each table is increasing, the cost of production of each table is increasing, and ultimately turns to be 40,000. So, can you produce the same 4 tables as you were producing earlier? Is it possible? It's not possible, right? As a result of which, we will observe that when the price of this factors of production is increasing, the quantity supplied to the market will decrease. Okay. Now, the next one is your state of technology. What is the state of technology, guys? That means whether you're making use of this advanced version of technology or obsolete version of technology. Okay, for example, let us say you have a business of garments, okay, and you understand that in order to produce a particular dress, a per day labor who is working under you is charging you 150 rupees. But when you install a new technology, the cost of production reduces from 150 to 70 rupees. Okay, so what do you observe here? With the advancement of the technology, what happens to your cost of production? It increases or decreases?
Decreases.
Decreases. Okay.
Decreases.
Perfect. So as it decreases, now what will happen to your supply? Whether it will increase or decrease?
Increase. And the supply will increase.
It will increase. That's what I intend to say here. So if your supply is increasing here, why is it increasing? Just because now you can channelize the same amount which you were earlier utilizing to produce the particular dress. Earlier it was 150, so now as it is 70, so now further 80 rupees can again be channelized into the production process, such that now your supply will take a higher return. Is it understood what is the state of technology? The last one,
मैम व्हाट इफ जो हम लोग टेक्नोलॉजी इंस्टॉल कर रहे हैं उसका ही प्राइस बहुत ज़्यादा हो?
look, that is a one time investment. Okay, that and the next thing is, you have to use this benefit cost analysis for that machine. First you have to make the calculation. Let us say per day मुझे कितना फायदा हो रहा है या फिर कितना नुकसान हो रहा है. Okay, so if it is profitable, then only you will opt for it, else you will not. Okay, because let us say labor is cheap in our nation. Okay, but if you are installing a particular technology, okay, into your firm, that needs to be far cheaper than that of labor, such that whatever returns you were getting earlier, it will still be continued, or even if it can be had. Is it understood, Anand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anybody has got anything else to ask?
And what about labor cost and stuff?
Labor cost, that means you're talking about the wages and salaries that we will be paying to the laborers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In what context are you saying? Means if we will be taking them out of our firm, or we are engaging them, and all? What do you want to
Yeah,
ask?
engaging them. Yeah, engaging them.
If you are engaging them, then what is the need of this machinery? Okay, if the machines can replace this laborers, okay, then and that too at a cheaper rate, then why not to go for machines? Okay, so that's why I said now advanced mode of technology. Okay, or even if these laborers are operating this particular technology, what about that? Okay, maybe the higher versions of the technology that you were already using, what about that? Okay, maybe for printing one sari, let us say earlier the machine which was used, that was taking 1 hour, let us say now it is taking 15 minutes. That will simply increase your cost of decrease your cost of production, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it understood? So every time I talk about technology, that doesn't mean adopting a completely new technology. It can also mean that you are using a new version of a previously used technology. That can also happen. Okay, so our basic intention is to understand whether this advancement in technology is fruitful in reduction of the cost of production or not. Is it understood to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so coming down to the last one, that is your government policy or taxation policy. What if this percentage of imposition of tax has increased? Then what will happen? Can anyone tell me? On the production side, let us say earlier you were paying 50 rupees for a product, and now you have to pay 80 rupees. So what will happen to the supply?
Ma'am, it will decrease as in the profit ratio of the producer will decrease.
Very
More
good.
tax.
The increase in the cost of production, the profit ratio will be hampered adversely, resulting which your supply will reduce. Is it understood to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you
Yes,
repeat
ma'am.
that one?
Anand, which one are you talking about? Taxation policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. See, as a producer, let us say earlier you were producing a commodity of 400 rupees, out of which, let us say, 40 rupees was tax. Okay. So the price is 400 rupees in the market. But now let us say the tax imposed has increased from 40 to 80 rupees. But the price of the commodity is still same in the market. So now what will happen to your supply? Whether it will increase or decrease?
Decrease.
Decrease. Okay, that's what I wanted to infer. Is it understood now? There's 5 factors affecting your supply.
Yes, ma'am. One request: can you explain the first and second phase?
Just a
I was
second.
not in the meet.
The
due to
first
some
and
network
second is
issues.
pretty much obvious. That is price of given commodity. That is, if the price is increasing, then it is obvious that the quantity supplied of that very particular commodity will increase along with that. Okay, because the producer has an intention to get more and more profit out of it. So with an increase in price, your quantity supplied will increase. The second one is price of other goods. That is, as I have given the example right now, a farmer is producing two commodities and supplying them to the market too. Let us say wheat and rice, and all of a sudden, the price of wheat has increased. Now, what will happen to the supply of rice? It will reduce, just because the farmer will be utilizing his more energy and the land towards producing this wheat and less of rice, because the price of wheat has increased in the market, keeping the price of rice as constant. Is it understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's talk about the next one, that is your change in supply and change in quantity supplied. But before that, I want to ask, what is your change in demand and change in quantity demanded? As I have already forwarded you the presentations, okay, so I really want to know how far you have remembered or understood the concept. What is this change in demand? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is this change in demand? Go through the presentation that I have
Ma'am,
seen. Yes, Anand.
ma'am, a demand of a particular commodity, like I'm demanding for Pepsi. Now my demand has been shifted to some other item. So that is change in demand of a
No,
particular commodity. And change in quantity, quantity demands that the quantity of that particular commodity,
no,
ma'am.
Anand. No, Anand. That's simply bluffing. That is not what if you have studied it properly. Something which I have explained you with a proper table with around 5 differences between change in demand and change in quantity demanded. Go through the first presentation that I have sent you, not the introductory class one, rather the demand analysis portion. Go through it now and tell me. Just go through it repeatedly, guys. Like this, it won't work. Okay, as I've told you right from the beginning, every concept is interconnected. Okay, so if you are not understanding them or remembering them, okay, the basic things, it will be very difficult for you, okay, to interconnect all these things. As here I was talking about this change in demand and change in quantity demanded. For that, we need to understand it in detail. Unless and until you understand that, how can you talk about this change in supply and change in quantity supplied? So let me know, anyone, quickly, what is this change in demand and change in quantity demanded? Go through the slide that I have sent you.
Ma'am,
Yes, Anshul.
ma'am, change in demand is the increase or decrease in the demand of the commodity due to the factors other than the price of the commodity.
Very good. So when it comes to change in demand and change in quantity demanded, there is a major difference. Change in demand का मतलब क्या होता है? When it comes to change in demand, your price remains constant, and due to the change in any of the other factor, your quantity demanded changes. The same thing we will observe when it comes to change in supply. Just mark it here. Your price is constant, but due to the any other factor affecting your supply changes. Let us say your state of technology. If you are using advanced technology, then your supply will increase, resulting which you will move from S1 to S2. But if you technologically you are not advanced, or you are using the obsolete version of the technology that was already existing, then your supply will decrease from S1 to S3. That is your change in supply, that is increase and decrease in supply due to the change in any of the other factors, keeping price as constant. Is it understood what is change in supply?
Ma'am, can you please repeat that? I just got disconnected.
Change in supply means keeping price as constant due to change in any of the other factors if your supply is increasing or decreasing. For example, your advancement of technology. Due to that, you will shift from S1 to S2. Okay, and due to the use of this obsolete version of this technology, you will move from S1 to S3 due to the decrease in supply. Is it understood? Change in supply to everyone? Yes or no? I shouldn't repeat it once more. Clear? Do not forget it, guys. These are the very basic things. यही भूल जाओगे तो आगे चल के क्या ही और पढ़ोगे. Don't disappoint me by just making me know that you don't know this concept which we have started with. Okay, these are the very basic things that we have come across, and at that time you guys were pretty much reciprocative about that, but I don't know what happened to you today that you have already forgot these things. So whatever presentation I am sending you back to back all this presentation so that you can go through it. Okay, and you should read it and learn it. Okay, don't just forget it. The next one is change in quantity supplied. What is this change in quantity supplied? Change in quantity supplied means it talks about your extension and contraction of supply due to the change in price. So when your quantity supplied changes due to any change in the price, keeping other factors as constant, that is known as your change in quantity supplied. So here we will see that there is an extension and contraction of supply. Tell me one thing, when the price is OP, what is your quantity supplied?
OL.
OL.
When your OQ, that is. So if price is OP, quantity supplied is OQ. What about OP dash?
ON.
So what do we observe? Whether we are moving upwards in the demand supply curve or downwards?
I'm upward.
Upward. So that is your extension of supply. Similarly, what about this OP double dash?
OL.
OL.
So we are moving upwards or downwards in the supply curve?
Down.
Downwards.
So that is contraction of supply. So these are very few basic things. Okay, you need to understand that. Okay, and don't forget it in the next class. Whenever I'm asking you all these things should remain intact. If you forget these basic things, then while solving these questions, it will be a bit difficult for you because those questions will be tricky. Okay, so this is your change in supply and change in quantity supplied. Coming down to the next one, that is elasticity of supply. So as we have already covered up your elasticity of demand, so the same formula will be used here. Okay, just two differences. What is those differences? In your numerator in the previous question, it was percentage change in quantity demanded. Here we will use percentage change in quantity supplied. Okay, and the second difference is there we had a negative sign just because the negative sign is due to the inverse relationship between price and demand. Here we will have no such negative sign because price and supply are positively associated. So that becomes percentage change in quantity supplied by percentage change in price. So here we have the formula del Q by del P into P1 by Q1. Okay, here the price remains as it is. This del Q and Q1 is initial quantity supplied and final quantity supplied. Note down this formula, everyone, so that we will solve one numerical out of it. Based on this, just solve this question. And let me know the answer in the chat box, everyone.
Can you show the formula again?
Okay, so I can see that most of you have got the answer as 3.6, and that's what the answer is. That is 3.6 here. So your percentage change in quantity supplied is 0.4, and your percentage change in price is 0.1111. Okay, so that's ratio is 3.6. Okay, so coming down to the next one, that is 5 types of elasticities of your supply. Okay, so I think these 5 things we have already completed under elasticity of demand. So what do you understand by unit elasticity of demand? Quickly tell me that.
And elasticity is equals to 0, 1.
Repeat again.
No change in expenditure due to change in price.
No, you are simply talking about total expenditure. Okay, that's what we have not covered up. Okay, I'm talking about this price elasticity, not total expenditure. Although what you have said,
The unit elasticity, it will be the change in the price is not affecting the change in quantity.
change in prices.
And if the change in price increases, the quantity also increases. It's directly related.
No, not like that. What do you mean by this unit then? It is pretty much obvious that with the change in price,
Is what?
When
elastic.
elasticity equals
The price was changing. That
The price is changing, the total outlay is not changing, it's remaining constant.
Again, that same mistake you are doing, guys. What I'm saying.
when elasticity equals to 1, ma'am.
Yes, Anand.
When elasticity equals to 1, ma'am, that's unit elasticity.
But when elasticity will be one, Anand?
Ma'am, the proportionate increase or decrease in demand as well as the price will be same.
Exactly. That's what I was looking out for, Ayushi. So when there is equal change in both price as well as demand, that is known as unit elasticity. Repeatedly, I'm saying not from total expenditure but price elasticity. Same mistake you are doing when your total expenditure will remain constant. That's what not I'm asking now. I'm simply asking from price elasticity. What you have said is not wrong. That is very much correct because that's what we have read in total expenditure. But I'm asking you from price elasticity, not from total expenditure. Okay, don't say that under unit elasticity it will be 1. It's not like that. It's just that यूनिट इलास्टिसिटी में ये वन नहीं है, यूनिट इलास्टिसिटी में वन क्यों है? क्योंकि परसेंटेज चेंज इन प्राइस इज इक्वल टू परसेंटेज चेंज इन डिमांड. Are you getting it? So see here, following that, see the percentage change in price is equal to percentage change in supply, resulting which we have a 45-degree line upward sloping curve. That's what is known as unit elasticity, क्योंकि numerator और denominator equal हो जाता है. As both numerator and denominator are equal, so at the end of the day, we are getting elasticity as 1. Is it clear to everyone now?
Yes, ma'am.
समझ आया? किसी को कोई भी डाउट है? Okay. Similarly, tell me what will be relatively elastic demand. Demand छोड़ो, supply की बात करते हैं. What will be relatively elastic supply? We have read it under demand.
Ma'am, when the proportionate change in demand is more than the change in the price.
Very good, Anshu. So whenever the percentage change in supply is far more than the percentage change in price, we call it as relatively elastic supply. Mark here, the change in price is less than the change in your quantity supplied. That's what it makes it relatively elastic supply. If the price is changing by 10%, the quantity supplied will change by 40%. Okay. Coming to the third one, relatively inelastic supply. What's that?
Ma'am, when the change in supply is less compared to the change in price.
Very good. You can see here what is the percentage change in price. It is far higher than the percentage change in quantity supplied. Okay, so that's why here we will see a greater change, resulting which we will get it relatively inelastic supply. इधर elasticity क्या होगा? Less than 1 or greater than 1?
Less than 1.
Less than 1. So numerator is more than denominator, or denominator is more than numerator?
Denominator is greater.
Very good. Very good. So the next one is perfectly inelastic supply. What is that?
When there is no change
In what?
in quantity supplied
Very
due
good.
to the price
When,
change.
very good. When there is no change in quantity supplied, even if there is a change in price, that is known as perfectly inelastic supply. You can see a vertical line parallel to your y-axis. Okay, they're parallel to each other, which shows that it is constant. Your quantity supplied is constant, it is not changing at all. Okay, the last one is perfectly elastic supply. Can anyone tell me this?
Ma'am, when the supply changes but the price remains constant.
And when there is no change in price.
When there is no change in price and supply keeps changing. Okay, here, see, here your price will be constant, your quantity supplied keeps changing. Okay, so here what will be the elasticity?
Infinity.
Infinity. Okay, किसी को डाउट है टाइप्स ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ सप्लाई में से?
Yes, ma'am.
यस, आस्क मी.
Ma'am, perfectly elastic supply.
परफेक्टली इलास्टिक सप्लाई. यस, स्वाति उसमें क्या दिक्कत हुआ?
मैम वो ई इन्फिनिटी कैसे हुआ? लाइक डिनोमिनेटर 0 हो जाएगा तो वो हो जाएगा, बट कैसे हुआ मेरे को समझ नहीं आया.
E is infinity because what is your formula? Percentage change in quantity supplied by percentage change in price. Percentage change in price is 0 here, na? Your price is constant. So something by 0 will be infinity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So anyone has got anything else to ask? Okay. So then this is all about your yes, anything?
And so from producer's point of view, relatively elastic supply is better than.
See, there is a lot of disturbance from your end. I can't hear you out.
Well, actually, there's. Hello.
Just write it in the chat box. I'm facing difficulty to listen to you. Sneh, what is your doubt? You only wrote yes, ma'am. From producer's point of view, relative illness. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's true. If with a little change in price, the quantity supplied will increase more. Yes, it is okay from producer's point of view. There is no problem with that. But at the end of the day, we have to see that the increase in price should be a good enough proportion to earn a better chunk of profit out of it. Okay. Okay, so I'll be sharing this presentation at the end of the day. Even if I forget, just remind me once in the group so that I will immediately share it. Okay, so and one more thing, when are you people planning to come back to the university? Next week, Wednesday, Thursday, or before that?
मैम 13th and 14th of August हमारा हॉस्टल एलोकेशन होगा.
अच्छा, तो उससे एक दिन पहले आ रहे हो?
I'll be reaching there on 10th. I don't know about others.
Okay. Let's see. Because if most of you guys won't be there in the class, it will be difficult for me to cover up. Because even if I teach you, then again I have to teach the same thing. Okay. So let's see what the university will decide about it. Okay. For this week, I'm planning to complete one more chapter. Okay. This is the end of the third chapter. In this week, we will complete another chapter. So before you come here, at least we can complete 4 chapters. Okay, so then I think this would be all. Okay, just mention all your roll number